Hello friend, welcome to the Java puzzle. So today we are going to discuss how to validate Spring Boot REST API request using Hibernate validator. So in the Java Bean validation framework has become the de facto standard for handling validation in Java projects. This ensures that the properties of a bean meet specific criteria using annotations such as @not null, @mean, and @max. So let me create one project. So I use Spring Initializer and let me add some dependencies. So first one is the web, Spring Web, then validation, JPA, Lombok, and I'm using S2 database. Generate this. So I open this project in my IntelliJ. You can use Eclipse also. So let's create a project, a simple project. But before moving the project, in this video we are going to discuss about some annotations, some validation annotation like @not null, which are using to validate the annotated property value is not null. Second one is size. It validates that the annotated property value has a size between the attributes mean and max, and it can be applied to string, collection, map, and array property. @mean is used to validate the annotated property has a value not smaller than the value attribute. Then same as a max validate is a annotated property has a value no larger than the value attribute. Same like the email validation. So email annotation is used for the annotated property is a valid email address and not empty. It's validate that the property is not null or empty can be applied to string, collection, map, or array value. Same like @not blank. It can be applied only to text value and validate that the property is not null or white space. So let's start. So firstly, we just create an entity for user. So let me create an entity of user class. Provided entity column. Let me use the column annotation with the column name is name. Name is equal to name, comma, nullable is equal to false. So that by using this you can also provide the entity should not be null. Okay, then we have to use annotation not null. Or we can use not empty, because nullable we already had that is a false, so we have to use not empty. Okay, not null, we are removing it. Sorry, we are removing it, and after the not null we have to add size. I'm going to use size, and inside the size I have to provide the, because in my validation I want to provide the validation for the name, like size should be greater than 2. So I will add mean with 2 and provide the message here, like message should be user name should have at least 2 character. Now for the email we will use @email, and for the email it should be not empty, and yeah, for email we have to just use this thing. Then for the password, like first thing is not empty, another thing like and we can use column also here. Column name is equal to email and nullable is equal to false. Same we will use for this also. So column name is equal to password and nullable is equal to false, and size we will provide here mean, and if you want to use max also, so you can use the max also. So I'm using mean and max both. Password should have at least 2 character, and I'm going to use max also. So max is equal to 15. So password should have at least 2 characters, and should have between 2 to 15 character. Whatever message you want to add here, you can add it. So yeah, this thing, and yeah. Now we already used the data, so we don't need anything else. Now let's create a repository, like because we are using the S2 database, so we don't need to add any configuration for the database thing, so we will keep empty for the application.property. So now let's create a repository file. So repository dot user repository, and here to extends GPA repository, and here I have to use user and long. And edit our repository. Oh, it should be interface. Then we have to create a service class, service dot user service, create capital U user service, and annotate it as a service. There is one more interview question I have to ask you, like in a repository, what will happen if I will use component here instead of repository annotation, if I will use component annotation, so what will happen with our project? It is working fine or it should throw an error? And if it is working fine, then why we need repository annotation? So if you know about the answer of this question, please comment below, and if you don't know about it and you want to make me a separate video for this thing, so please comment below. So let's go back here. Okay, so in a user service here, firstly auto where my repository. So for the validation, I'm just using only one method. So in future, if you want dedicated REST API tutorials, so please let me know, so I will create a dedicated video for the REST API. So currently this video is only dedicated for the validation part, so I am creating only one API. So now create a controller. So now we create one API for the add, and we will check all the validation for this API. So for this, everything is fine, but before moving this, I'm just want to add one validation handler. So let's create a validation handler to customize the validation response. So create one handler. So here, this should be run on every time whenever we will hit any API. So that time it will check all the validation is working fine for that particular entity. So let's firstly annotate it a controller advice annotation, and this validation handler will extend one response entity exception handler. So let me extends. Now we have to implement response entity exception handler. It overrides the handle method argument not valid. So that we have to override. So for this, let me override. Right click it, generate override method. So here you will see there are a lot of methods, and inside it we have to use handle method argument not valid. This one. Okay, this we have to implement. So after this, after overriding, so you will see there is a method argument not validation exception, HTTP header, HTTP status, web request. So here we have to implement our logic here. So just remove this and we will write our logic here. So map firstly we will create a map of a string, and string create a map of errors. So go to new map. Let me so after that, after getting this ex dot get binding result dot. So here you will see there are multiple of method is already there, and here we have to use get all error. Get all errors. Okay, and for this error we have to use for each and error. Yeah, so here I have to use the field name and matches whatever field, whatever matches. So all of the things we will get and we will put in our error map. So our field name is equal to it should be so now our validation handler is completed. Now what we have to do, we have to just run our code and test in the Postman /user /add inside the body row and JSON, and here let me add some values from user. So name, email, password. Name, email and password. Yeah. So let me add a name. Let's suppose J, and email, let me add Java puzzle. Okay, and inside the password here I'll add some Java. Okay, and when I click on the hit, so here you will see the 404 bad request, and here you will see the exception. And if I will add one, because in the code you will see there is a 2, so if I will add, so you will see there is a 3 validation exception is here. Let me add Java. So now name is removed. Let's put @youtube.com. Now only password validation is there. Now let's suppose we use here the size. If I want to use the mean and max, so here so here you can see that we add a max annotation and mean annotation. Max password length is 10, and we added the message. Mean is 5. So let me start. let's see here. If I will add the 4 and click on the send, so you will see password should not be less than 5. Okay, let me add some Java puzzle video. Thank you. So now it's greater than 10. Let me see the validation. Now its validation is working fine. So here today you will learn the validation with some annotations like not empty, size, email, then mean and max and mean, sorry. So thank you for this video, and please let me know what is the advantage of repository annotation. So comment below and let me know, do you know about it or not. So thank you.